Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video and I'm sitting wearing a smile today despite the efforts of a tough, dogged Dundee United side that is performing exceptionally well this season and does make it very, very difficult. I mean, this is the only side in Scottish football that's took a point off us at Ibrox, and of course the best intentions from Nick Walsh, who's done everything in his power to rip this game away and make it all about him. And look, if you watch this channel pretty regularly, you know I didn't really dive in too deep, especially early on in videos talking about refereeing performances, because when someone's bad at their job and they do bad at their job, it's not a surprise, it's not a shock, it's just like, hello, we're the idiots for continuing to allow it to actually happen. So it isn't surprising when referees have howlers and are atrocious and dreadful. That's just what we bred in this Scottish game, and every single one of them is pretty much at that level. Again, they're part-time for a reason, because nobody would hire them full-time, right? So I get they are crap, but it's hard not to discuss Dundee 1, Rangers 3 as the way it's going to be officially titled, or a 3-1 win for Rangers away from home up at Tannadice, without going ahead and mentioning Nick Walsh, because every little aspect of this game he sprinkled his fingerprints on and pretty much puppet mastered what was a actually pretty good game, a football into a storyline and an ego stroke of the man with the tiny whistle. And look, I know how this is going to go. There's going to be people down in the comment section below, oh, didn't get involved in the referee conversation, didn't talk about it right now, we won the game, that's what we should be focusing on. And it was great that we won the game, but I can't no talk about this referee because he was so heavily involved in this game. And if I only talked about referees when we lose, I get called a bad loser, but no, I can't talk about them when we win. So when can I actually talk about the atrocious nature of these referees? Because see, if we actually stop being bitter and blinded, just blinded by our own hatreds, nipping back and forth at each other constantly, hi, you're a bad winner, bad loser, bad winner, bad loser, bad. If you actually just focused on the consistentness in between everyone's arguments in Scottish football, the consistent is just how poor these referees are, and they get away with murder every single week for every single team. And it was just another perfect example of it, and we're obviously going to go ahead and speak about that today, and we'll really break it down as we get deeper into the game video. But I can't no mention Nick Walsh's name because he is in the mind of every single Rangers fans, because he was simply pathetic today. How pathetic? Stick with the video and you will find out, because before diving really into that and even getting into the game recap, I want to talk about the team, right? Because we went away for home today versus Dundee United, the high-flying Dundee United, again the only other team in Scottish football to have took points off us at Ibrox this season, where it's been almost a fortress. Some of the performances have been bad, but the results have made it a fortress, right? So it was all set up to be a very, very difficult afternoon, especially with our away troubles. But what's going to get lost in all this pandemonium, is going to get lost in all this conversation about the referees, is that second half performance. After a poor-ish first half that had a lot of familiarities with a lot of our failures so far this season, I saw a team digging, sticking against adversity, fight through, battle, play together as a team, and come over the line in a very difficult place versus a very difficult team. And for me, who has been very critical of a lot of these players and a lot of the teams so far this season, includes the manager, that second half was brilliant for Rangers, and I just wanted to mention it. And the first player that I do want to talk about is none other than diomande, who got us on our way, grabbing this game back from what it could have potentially been to giving us a lifeline in it with a moment brilliance. But it's not just the goal, you know what I mean? We're not just the highlight chasers right here, right? We actually like to look at these games and try and break down. And what I learned for diomande today, and what I'd argue about Diomande's performance today, despite the late red card, that's probably about as his best as he's been in Scottish football. No, he's had a couple of eye-dazzling performances here, there, he's been really good in Europe, he's been really good here or there, but in terms of Scottish football, was something that has been criticised with, not being able to handle the physicality, you know what I mean? Away Easter Road, when it started getting nippy and it started getting physical, he sort of shrank. This was a day that started off physical, it never got physical. That man was kicked for pillar to post for the very first minute. It was clearly one that the Dundee United players or manager or coaching staff or whatever had picked out early to leave in late and get stuck in, because he hasn't fancied it so far in Scottish football. And if you've got a weakness like that, it's always going to get targeted, and they went right after him. 3 or 4 challenges in the first 25 minutes of this game. After he's passed the ball, he's been kicked, he's been tripped, he's been elbowed, and the chest left on the deck time and time again that Nick Walsh let go and just gave wee warning saying, one more, One mere, it's a yellow. One mere, one mere, one mere. It took 8 mares to eventually give a yellow card, and that foul was no doubt was on Diomande. So he got the kicks, he got the bruises of the day, but instead of doing what he's done a couple times in a Rangers shirt, he just never ever shrank. They actually stood up to it and went, right, you know what, limping through it, grabbed the brilliant goal, and I thought he was great the rest of the game as well. And obviously it's going to dominate the news that he did get sent off, and it is going to be a controversial talking point. But even I look at that and the way that he's been sent off, right, the boy's pulling at him, he's jet hanging at him, he's trying to wind him up, he's constantly giving wee kicks, wee nudge. Diomande just turns around, shoves him once, and then tries to shove again. The guy's got his arm all around him, and maybe he does catch him on the dish, or maybe he just touches him on the nose. Again, I'm not seeing any evidence to suggest that, but there's no malice behind it, there's no force, it's just a guy trying to, he's getting shoved, guy's grabbing his jersey, he's just trying to get up. So now we're actually sending boys off for defending himself. He's been kicked, battered and targeted the entire freaking game, and at the end of the game when the opposition spitting the dummy out just trying to just nail everybody and hurt players, he is the one that is then made out to be the villain, and he's the one that got sent off. I genuinely think that's disgusting, and whether we can appeal this red card, I believe we can appeal it, I should say, but whether it's successful, because we've seen them double down on failures before to one side and everything like that, I'm seeing a guy that actually stood up for the first time in Scottish football, and he will be one of these players I picked out despite the red card, and say, you know what, Mo Diomande, that's what I want to see for you, son. Stand up to it and dominate like you did in the second half. My thoughts are quite clear on the red card, as it was to every referee and official that was at VAR. It had every angle to look at it. Maybe in real time, Nick Walsh looks like he's punched him, or it looks like he slapped it for his angle. Fair enough. It happens in a second. You can make mistakes. But once VAR has looked at that decision and not checked and cleared your decision, that is clearly telling the referee he has got it wrong. Because if it was a straight red card, all you'd have heard was, yep, check the red card, clear, dangerous play, blah blah blah, send them off, and that would have been it. But Nick Walsh has been pulled to the monitor to have a second look at it and see the lack of force and lack of contact, yet still look at that for every angle and then jog off and egotistically stick with his wrong decision that he knows is wrong, and he's just been told by 3 other refs that he's wrong. That is crazy, that is disgusting, but that is the officiating you see in Scottish football, and because he got a red card and the game isn't going to take the blemish away from what I saw, Mo Diomande actually standing up for the real first time in the physicality of Scottish football and really showing he can make it here. Now, should he be receiving those kicks? Should he be getting kicked off the park? No, he shouldn't, but he's not getting the protection for the referees. You know what I mean? We've got 11 players, 11 first team players injured, kicked off the park so far this season, and they certainly tried that again with big Mo Diomande today, and he could have been another casualty, but he stood up to it. I'm going to give him credit, so aye, no ill feeling for me. Well done, Mo. You were brilliant. Another player that I thought was brilliant for the majority of the game was big Robin Proper, who continues his maybe 50% of good performances versus mad moments. Now, unfortunately, I can't talk him up too much of the help, because I do think he needs to be stronger in the goal we conceded, but his overall performance, the way he got stuck in, the way he defended his teammates, that again on occasion for me were a little bit too soft to get stuck in. Proper's at least got a wee bit of a trigger, and he gets in and he physically imposes himself, so shout out to him. And he obviously had a brilliant goal as well, which was vital for this club being successful and getting the 3 points today. And I thought he was great versus United, as I've already talked about, and I thought he was very good here, so yeah, him. But there's one last player that I want to pick out individually in terms of brilliance and that, and it might not be the player a lot of people are expecting, and it might not be everyone's favourite, but for me it was the guy that I thought was outstanding for every minute he was on the park, and that was Egaman. Now, he didn't score and he didn't assist today, which is why stats aren't everything in football, because if you watch the game, who was the guy that was bringing it down on a sixpence? Who was the one that was hitting nutmegs? Who was the one that was creating chances? Who was the one that was dropping deep to get the ball, trying to turn it and try and flip possession? Who was the guy that was a driving force all damn day? And as a 22-year-old kid who only started playing first team football for us back in December in terms of starting games. So I just wanted to shout at Egaman. I know he'll get lost in the shuffle, shuffle, and Dessers' goal was brilliant. We're going to give him credit, don't worry about that. But if you're looking at an overall performance, that's about as good as it gets, and anything we got for this game was usually down to that type of attitude and that type of application, especially on a away day. You need that guy that can bring it down, take a couple challenges, drive us with a ball, and that's about as impressive as a away performance I've seen Mr. Eggman, without the hat-trick at Easter and all that stuff. Overall play, I thought he was outstanding. But enough talking around the game and around the incidents. Let's actually go ahead and plot through the game and relive the mad moments then, shall we? Again, the starting 11 was actually pretty good in my opinion by Clement. I liked the two up top. I liked Dessers and Eggman. It's something we talked about heavily before the Man United game. You know what I mean? Especially with Danilo showing he's once again made of glass, sorry. It does give the opportunity to Dessers, and he is scoring goals right now, and you've got to ride the hot hands, and Dessers on his occasion can be a complete maverick, and he once again showed it today with just overall Dessers' performance. A couple of wee moments where he couldn't hold the ball up, or a poor pass here, a disappointing here, maybe a mad moment in front of goal, or a bad moment I should say, but he ends the game with another goal which is an absolute screamer. He makes the hard look easy and easy look hard, but right now when we're down to the barest of bare bones, we need everyone that is selected, whether they're fancied or no, to turn up and give everything. And I guess the best credit you can give Dessers after this away performance today is, despite all the constant stuff that's said about him and the constant speculation that they want to get rid of him, the club's trying to move him on, he rolled his socks up today, took his hits and scored a great goal. And again, it wasn't as pretty on the eye with Eggman and Dessers. There was a couple times where it just never broke down. It wasn't as slick as it was with Danilo, but again, Danilo and Dessers are completely different players, and it probably will take time for Dessers and Eggman to really find their stride, but that's what the games are for, to give them the opportunity. So I like the two up top. The only other question was going to be is how would the winging position work out, because we've got Barami on the left and we've got Hadji on the right, and that's two wide tens, if you will, and for me, that was probably the problem for the majority of the game. Especially in that first 25 minutes of the game where we struggled to really do anything with the football. In fact, it was Dundee United that started hot, the team that starts slower than anybody else in Scottish football. The first half came out firing, creating chance after chance after chance. I mean, in the first 5 minutes, they have a corner, they try and score directly from it because they're obviously targeting Jack Butland right now being a problem and a weakness. Again, smelling blood in that incident, but it goes just over. And then from the resulting corner, again, that they end up getting a couple minutes later, they whip it in, and I can't remember if it's the centre half or it is Dalby, but anyway, he does the ball down, it hits the post, and I'm thinking, by God, here, this is 5 minutes into the game, United team's rocking, the United fans are rocking, they are salt and pepper in our goals, and we've got none going forward because it's just no working. Barami seemed on a different wavelength for Dessers seemed like on a different wavelength for Eggman seemed on a different wavelength for Hadji, and it just wasn't clicking. We couldn't get the ball forward, so it was just coming one way. And during this ferocious period of the game, you had the likes of Foningham getting the ball down the right hand side when he did have actually a 4v3 versus us in our defence, but he tries to have a shot, thankfully, that goes just wide rather than maybe chipping it to the back post, where Dundee United have two wide open players probably licking their lips fancying it against James Henry, but we get away with that one. Glenn Middleton then takes Tavernier a walk again down the left hand side, whips in an early cross, it comes to Stevenson, hits it well, brilliant save by Big Jack, and then from the resulting corner again, it's another header that thankfully just goes wide. It's just taking punches after taking punches, but we had no out ball, and this is the part of the game when we did try and get on the ball, we were just getting players kicked off the park, right? And I'm sorry to continue to keep going round it, but it's such an important part of the story, because see these 3-4 incidences where Diomande is passing and then he's getting kicked late, or he's getting tripped up late, or even Dessers gets one late for Declan Gallagher as well in the first half. What that's doing is it's letting the temperature continue to build, and it's letting the game start to get out of control, right? I'm not one of these guys that champions everything for yellow cards. I think people that actually watch this channel knows that, you know what I mean? Not everything is a yellow, but when you've warned a team 3 or 4 times, when you've pulled Declan Gallagher, who's the club captain of Dundee United, to one side and say 1, 2, 3, 4 and go like that and say that is enough, to then watch Diomande then get kicked again at the halfway line and not result in a yellow card is allowing the game to bubble out of control and allowing Dundee United to feel like they've got free rein on Rangers and their players are getting kicked for pillar to post. Now again, I would like a couple of hammer throwers, maybe a bit shithousery from a Rangers end to then start leaving ones in and start getting kicked in, but the only one really capable of doing that is Big Proper. But we all know that's a different standard than refereeing, you know what I mean? Look at our record when Jacko tried that, look at our record when Lunny tried that. It was always yellow, walking yellow cards, even Cantwell, when he would snap after getting the same treatment we saw from diomande today, he'd be quick to the booking. But it's just letting all these challenges go, it's letting 5 or 6 go like that just gets the atmosphere up there, it just gets the tension up there, and it was always going to spiral out of control. But again, that's why I talked about earlier in the video about him being a puppet master. He's allowed it to get to that level. After the first 3 or 4 late challenges are no red cards or anything like that, but when the ball's passing, you're then bumping into players or you're tripping people up that's running by you, it's a yellow card, and you stamp it down and you start to quieten it down. But again, he didn't do it, he let it bubble, and you could just feel this game was going to bubble out of control and eventually become a bit Nick Walsh. Which honestly, I don't know if he likes that about him, because he was the same in European football as well, where he sent off 4 different players midweek. You know what I mean? After a horrific performance that got him so many bad opinions and that in the European stage, so many digs and so many little manager comments about him on Thursday night, to then let him take a game in this one and be dominating the news again. How clear is it to the people making the charges that he's just bad at his job? How many clear bits of evidence do you need to see? Sending 4 off on Thursday, sending 1 off here, and allowing the game to spiral out of control. You had 0 control of that game. But anyway, speaking of 0 control, we couldn't get on the ball. Dundee United were continuing to build up. They have one of these long throws. It's horrific defending, right? And this isn't about Walsh, this isn't about the referee, it's not allowing late challenges. This is just us being bad at defending set pieces. I'm shocked and odd. It comes in, couple bounces, Proper doesn't get to it, Nasala doesn't get to it, ends up going at the grunt. Proper makes a good block, to be fair, but it rebounds the big Dalby, and he taps it in to the top of the net with a wee daisy cutter. It's a brilliant finish for a striker on form, but again, I'm always going to look at it from a Rangers perspective. That defending is chronic. We can't deal with balls into our box still, ladies and gentlemen. And after the Dundee United goal, we did get on the ball a wee bit more, but we were seeing our problem what happens when Czerny's no in the side. Now again, he's no the messiah, he's no the best player we've ever had or anything like that, but there's something about Czerny when he gets the ball, he gets arses off seats and he's capable of taking men on and driving into the box. It's very similar to the likes of Ryan Kent, that I would always defend him for his lack of goals or assists, because he's just ability to get on the ball, drive us forward and then create something that maybe then creates the goal, but he gets nothing for it. Czerny's very, very similar. And when you have Barami on one side and Hadji on the other, just want to cut inside constantly or pass it, or cut inside fake shot, then try the cross, they're just doing the exact same thing. And it was so textbook for Dundee United to defend that the first 33.5 minutes of this game was torture being a Rangers fan. But again, it's wee Mo Diomande who's in the war and in the trenches getting kicked for pillar. He posts it, steps up with a moment. He brilliance. The ball comes from the right hand side. Tavernier, just a wee shovel pass, if you will. If you're watching NFL later, you'll get that reference. But he passes it in to Diomande. Diomande fakes it with his left, has a shot with his right, and it buries into just the corner in the net. Brilliant finish, brilliant goal, and brilliant for him as well, who was actually just 60 seconds later kicked again. Go back and watch again before he scored that. So I don't know if he's just thought, you know what, I'm sick of this now, get me on the ball and smash it. Maybe he just needed to get to that stage and the trigger just needed to go, that he's finally tuned in and understand the best way to get back to these hammer thrower and the hammer throwing tactics is to show your quality. It's not to shrink into yourself and try to predict it. Brilliant goal, and by God did we need it, because that first half was stinking. Now after 2 more challenges that were late, one on Barami and I think the other one was on Igaman as well, there is eventually a yellow card given for Will Ferry, and he's gone mental, he's screaming and that, but the referee has to go like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See, when you're losing fingers trying to count how many fouls you've let go, you've probably had a bit of a mistake. But anyway, he ends up getting booked. There is a wee bit of a warning there, and then we start to smell a little bit of blood. We start to commit more men forward, but again, as we commit, we also leave back there, and that nearly causes a problem as Barami's got to do better here. Back there, helping his teammate out. The ball ends up coming in to the mixer, and again, it's Fotheringham, to be fair, that gets on to the header, but it's a brilliant big save by big Jackie B when we needed him to. Or that is 2-1 right there, and a real dagger in the heart. But big save by Butland, whether he knows much about it or not, and then it sparks us into life. Hadji beats his man down the right hand side, whips in a dangerous cross. Big Dessers, man, he's just on his heels. It's right across the 6-yard line. If he just gambles and shows a bit of striker's instinct, he's got a wee tippity tap. But again, he's not an out-and-out goal scorer. That's been his problem all along. He's on his heels, doesn't take the invitation, the easy goal, but it never is. But he does nearly end up scoring the exact same goal he scored versus United as the last chance of the first half for us. As a long ball up, it drops to Dessers. Desser hits on a swivel. It's a good save for the goalie. The ball comes back to Barami, and Barami should probably do better here as well. But that's the end of the first half. Bit of fury, bit of flurry, bit of anger sprinkled in between all the stoppages of play and the fouls and the talking for the referee. But despite going into winning the game and knowing what comes in terms of the performances, there wasn't many bright sparks to talk about and bright feelings and positivity at the end of the first half, because it just felt more of the same garbage, you know what I mean? We could have been behind a couple goals. We could have been more than that, if I'm honest with you. And we only really showed in little spurts and little darts thrown here or there going forward that showed our quality. But the second half was completely night and day, and maybe they have to give credit to Clement for that, because he definitely got the team playing just completely differently and maybe more pissed off in the second half than they were in the first half, because these 50-50s they won to win, and these things they were jumping out of, and these setting to every ball that was the first 47.5 minutes of the first half just wasn't there at all in the second half. If everyone started to get stuck in, everyone started to ride the challenges, and everyone started to win these 50-50s. And from a team that looked like a punching bag for the first 25 minutes of the game, it was us that started the second half chipping away, couple wee dangerous things here, set piece here, okay, and then it's big Robin proper with a phenomenal goal. Hadji plays in him, so it's another Hadji assist, if you will, but it's all about big Robin. And you know what I love about this one? He gets the ball in the box, right, and does he look around to like pass it? Does he faff around? Does he try anything fancy? No, I'm inside the box, I've got a bit of space, I'm just going to rip this with a peg, and it bursts it back in it before the goalie can even move. And maybe our centre back is showing what our strikers need to start learning a bit more. Just hit it, ladies and gentlemen. And it clearly rubbed off, because Dessers ended up scoring a goal very similar to that before he has a Dessers moment slightly before it. But aye, brilliant goal for Big Robin. That's scored 2-0 over his last couple games, and we love to see it. And that's a huge goal for us. It's 2-1, gives us on the ascendancy, and you could feel it in the air. We then have a counter-attack as Dundee United commit a lot of men for set pieces. You know why? Because we're dreadful at them. Barami then plays a ball when he's got like a 3-on-2 attack. It's a stinking pass for Barami, like it's horrible. But Egeman does enough, and if you actually go back and look at this, Dundee United players are a little bit scared to Egeman, and it's not just a Dundee United thing, I'm not digging out, it's because Egeman's got that skill and ability that the Dundee United player, when Egeman sort of fakes the wee shimmy, has to take a couple steps back, and that couple steps back gives Egeman the chance to get on the ball, play a beautiful through ball to Dessers, who's 1v1 with the keeper. But he tries to go around the goalie with no much conviction, and it's a very good diving save, if you will, for the keeper. But aye, that could have been the dagger right there, and that could have been the game, and that could have been the set, and it could have been the assist that Egeman deserved. But again, Dessers is a lottery, you just never know when your numbers are coming up. But we know what we're edging closer and closer to here. After the Dessers big chance, you've got a beautiful 1-2 play with Egeman here. He plays it into Barami. Barami plays it back to him. He has a shot that's brilliantly saved for the goalie. And from the set piece, we try and play one, I think, short. It goes to Dessers. Dessers kind of falls on it as well. And then big Declan Gallagher, big Deck just goes bang and punches that ball on the deck with maybe the most clearest handball I've ever seen in my life. And I don't know what's madder, the fact that it's no given as a penalty kick, or the fact that it was cleared in about less than a second. It was like, VAR check, VAR cleared, VAR check, VAR. He's not got the finger up to the ears yet, but aye, I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, right? Because I talked about stuff before, and I have been critical of my own players, especially the likes of John Suter. When the hand goes outside of the body and you make contact with the ball, it is a penalty, you know what I mean? So I'm not just speaking to a Ranger fan saying, oh, we get screwed here. I don't know what the rules are anymore, because if that's no a handball, what the hell actually is? His arm's out to here, he makes contact, I know he's turned round and shot, but his arm's still out to there, and it smacked down the ball to clear the ball. Whether it was intentional or no, every handball by a defender inside the box is going to be unintentional, because if they were intentionally handballed it, they'd be fined and they'd be sacked for throwing a game. Every handball inside the box is unintentional. That's just common sense. So you can't no give a penalty for that because he never meant it. Obviously, he's never meant it. But as he punched the ball into the ground, aye, so it's got to be a penalty. Surely. And do you know what's mental? I'm saying all this thinking it's a penalty, but am I sure of the rules? No, because I'm sure someone's going to say, if you actually check the SFA handbook, chapter 582172, tab B, A, C, D, F, X, Y, hashtag, you'll see that if he turns his back, does a 360, kisses the ground, punches it down, hits a double dribble and a 3-pointer, that it's not a penalty. And maybe there is a new rule, but if your hand's outside your body position and you punch the ball inside the box, come on. Rangers, Celtic, Rangers, Aberdeen, Rangers, whatever you want, no matter who you hate, surely to Christ, we can all agree, he's punched the ball in the box. It's a penalty. Especially when you've seen penalties given against John Souttar when it hits him here. You know what I mean? As in here. Or if it hits here. Or if it hits, what was it? Connor Goldson in USG a couple of years ago, actually, in Champions League, when it's hit off Ben Davies and it's hit him here and it's given as a penalty. If this is a penalty inside your position, surely, bang, that's a penalty. Like, I don't know, someone's going to tell me in the comment section I'm wrong, but Jesus Christ, I can't believe that's no being looked at. But anyway, we didn't get a penalty there, and what's the most impressive thing about Nick Walsh is ignoring that penalty kick isn't actually the worst decision that we're going to need to talk about, because you know what happens later. But instead of just jumping to the goal and discussing that incident, there was some actual manic moments as well, because Dundee United still playing, Glenn Middleton, dangerous cross into the box, Raskin runs in, kicks the ball, looks like an own goal, it hits the inside of the post, comes back out, you think, oh my god, there's a bit of luck right there. Does that count on the bingo card? Well, we tidied up the yellow card, the bar conversation later on in the video. But then Dundee United have another set piece that's bouncing everywhere, it drops to the back post, they miss a sitter, then it's given for offside. We then win a free kick around about the 80th minute of the game that gets loud cheers for the Rangers fans, because we've actually been given a free kick, and proper puts one on a dime, looking like he's wearing Connor Goldson pyjamas, drops it to Barami, unselfishly slots it to Dessers, tucked it in, I'm away, but it's offside by this, which is fair, because if it's offside by this or it's offside by this, it doesn't matter, because he's offside. Just like if you handball it like that, it's a handball. But there's a moment in the game that I want to highlight, and to anyone that is still watching today's video, it might be a highlight you've even forgot about. But if you're watching this long, you're usually a channel legend, so I'm sure you watched every bit of the game. But Jeffrey makes a brilliant defensive block in the 84th minute, 85th maybe, just before the goal, where the dangerous cross comes in for Glenn Middleton to the back post. The same thing that he made a mistake for versus Manchester United, switching off late in a game to be stung at the end of the game. But the kid's just looking, gets up, big brave header, gets it cleared, and what, 40 seconds later we have the ball in the back in it, and I've killed the game off. Everybody and their nan was quick to criticise and call out Jeff and saying this and saying that. Oh, he's Barisic 2.0, oh, he's this. Kid turned 21 last month, ladies and gentlemen. I think if we're all going to be quick to criticise and call him out and say this about him, well, let's actually give him praise then, because 3 days later he's learned for his lesson, he's stopped a clear goal for Dundee United and actually gave us the platform to go ahead and win. So maybe get a wee bit of positivity now and again for our boy Jeff. Big for the big man. But before the ball is put in the back of net, there's a crucial substitution made by Clement, who I thought got it spot on the day. Off comes Hadji and on trots on Zach Lovelace, and thankfully he's directly involved in this goal as well. It's a brilliant bit of play again for our boy Egeman. He's involved in it, Barami's involved with it, everyone's sort of involved with it, and Barami plays it in to Lovelace, brilliant ball into him. Lovelace, wee tap to Dessers, and Dessers with the big left peg, man. The lefty comes out for Dessers and he's put it into the bread basket, and it's just the most Dessers thing in the world to score that screamer. This guy is honestly going to trick an entire generation in 15 years time that he was the greatest number 9 Rangers has ever seen. Because see, this guy's goal catalogue is nuts. It's like the Oliver Giroud's of Scottish football, if you get my drift. You know what I mean? Really, see when you're on Twitter or that and you see Giroud's goals, overhead kick goal, screamer here, screamer here, you think, oh my god, Giroud was a bad bad man. Well, that's what's going to happen with Dessers, you know what I mean? If Nukes goes off and everything goes crazy with the world and we eventually start to get technology back and we find something in Dessers, we say, by God, he's the greatest player we've ever seen. His goal catalogue is that good, and honestly, he deserves a wee bit of that as well. Because again, you know how I feel about it. I'm not going to continue to go on and on and on. I do feel like he did duck out that moment. But what I'm seeing for him now is, despite that, despite all the stuff getting said about him, despite Rangers, in my opinion, clearly trying to move on for him until Danilo broke down, he's never once moaned or spat the dummy or done a can't well or done this and done that. He always just turns up, pulls the bits on and tries. And you know what? He's doing it right now. We need him right now. And that's a brilliant goal that kills this game stone dead. And clearly it was a big goal for his club. Clearly it was a big goal for him. And it was a big goal for his fan base as it wrapped up all 3 points away from home, which isn't very common. And full stop. Brilliant video, ladies and gentlemen. Let's wrap it up there. Oh aye, we can't, because not only do we then go on to hit the post, by the way, Egeman plays the ball into Diomande. Diomande tries a wee lefty, smashes the post. We didn't have a fourth goal or a last incident to talk about. Now we need to talk about this clown of a referee. Again, as we've already mentioned in the video, there's a wee bit of a scuffle, there's pulling jerseys, there's this, there's the wee knee before it and everything like that. He's just shoving him off it, right? The guy's reaching for him, he's like that, he tries to move him like that, ends up catching him, or maybe not even catching him, and it ends up getting a straight red card, which confused me, because at first it looked like he had sent off Egeman, because that's where the camera went, and I went, what's this clown actually doing? But then he got told it was Diomande, and I'm like, oh, maybe he's punched him in the face, or maybe he's made contact or something. I'm like, right. Then I see the replays and I'm like, what's he sent him off for? He's no Nate Diaz doing a Stockton slap, you know what I mean? He's not made any contact. Then I'm like, maybe VAR will step in, maybe common sense, right? And I'm just waiting for it. Then he gets told to come here, and you're like, right, at least it's not that bad, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I mean? We should have had a penalty. There should have been loads of yellow cards, possibly even reds. But you know what? We'll take it right here, because we're going to get a moment and not allow a guy who's been targeted, fouled the entire game, to have then stood up for himself and punish him for actually doing it. At least that story's now out there. Then he's looking at it. Nick Walsh comes out, ignoring the advice of VAR. I'm not interested. It's still a red card. On you go, Diomande. And for me, that is a referee diving in and going with his emotions rather than his sense, you know what I mean? That is ego talking over common sense, and it's been a very familiar conversation regarding Nick Walsh, and unfortunately too many members of the association with the old referees in Scotland. And again, I look at a lot of teams for a lot of preview videos, and I look at some of these decisions and it's head scratchers. I know it just feels, because if you only watch Rangers, you see it coming and you feel like it's always against Rangers and people always go down that road. But honestly, I look at so many games for this channel, I look at so many games for these preview videos, and the amount of crap you see and inconsistency is genuinely disgusting. And it's just crap like this. They're ego mad. Get that appealed, get that called out, and get that referee gone, or Scottish football will continue to be the laughing stock of Europe, ladies and gentlemen. And I mean that not only in terms of revenue generated, in terms of eyes and TV deals and everything like that, but just the way it gets talked about and the way it gets represented, because we cannot still go forward as a league with idiots like that dragging every bit of football out of a game and making what was a very good game versus two very good sides on occasion this season, more so when us. Dundee United's been great, if I'm honest with you. Instead of being talking about that and some of the chances, it's talking about referees again, and that's only poisoning the league and making it worse than it actually is. But that's my thoughts and opinions. I think the referee is a joke. I think the referee is an embarrassment, and aye, there is no buts or maybes about that. What about you? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down there in the old comment section below. But aye, my last thing that I want to say is, despite my frustrations, despite my annoyances at San, that second half actually made me pretty proud as a Ranger fan. I know the league's gone, I know all this crap's gone, I know all this, but the way we battled and fought is what I just want to see for a Rangers team. It should be the minimum what we see, but we got to see it today, so I want to call it and give a wee bit of praise there. Well done to Dessers to go, well done to Eggman, well done to Diomande as well. He's probably all messed up there. He's like, I defended myself, now I've been sent off, should I just get battered the entire game? Welcome to life to a Rangers midfielder. It's not very, very, very fair in this old league. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I've been CJ92. Let me know your opinions down there in the comment section below. I'll see you on Wednesday for a massive European preview. Until then, take care of yourselves. All the best, and bye-bye.